All right, it's about to get crowded up here. We've got Robin, Katie, Jessica, Chris, Cathy. The gang's all here, folks. This is one of my most anticipated sessions of the day, our discussion on how agencies can respond and adapt to the AI revolution that we're in the midst of. I'm joined by, as I just said, Robin, Chris, Cathy, Katie, and Jessica, and I'm going to let each of them take just 30 seconds to introduce themselves, starting with Chris.
Thank you, Mike. My name is Chris Carr. I'm the CEO and founder of Farotech. We're a digital marketing agency located just outside of Philadelphia. I'm also the CEO and founder of Dynamics AI, which is an AI consulting firm that specializes in training and then just helping companies develop AI literacy.
Fantastic. Cathy?
Hi, I'm Cathy McPhillips. I head up growth for the Marketing AI Institute. And we are based in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'll tell you more about all the things we're doing as we go through this.
Fantastic. Katie?
Hi, everybody. Katie Richmond. I'm a consultant across tech. I've worked in social at Meta, and then I was on the ESPN side as well. I now blog and talk a little bit about AI, and I consult at NVIDIA.
Just a little bit. All right. And
Just a little
Jessica?
bit.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Hreha. I'm the head of marketing, AI strategy, and transformation at Jasper. We're a generative AI co-pilot specifically built for enterprise marketers. And coming off of being a customer there for a year and a half and founded the Marketing AI Council at VMware. So you may hear some of that in answers today as well. Good to be here.
Thank you. And Robin, who you all may recall from just a couple of hours ago.
Hi, everyone. I'm Robin Dimond. I'm the CEO and founder of Fifth & Core. We are a marketing and innovation company integrating augmented reality and artificial intelligence into your marketing strategy. I am also officially now the COO of Well Training, who does training for your technology backgrounds for your companies. So.
Fantastic. All right, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get to it. I've got a number of questions prepared, but those of you in the audience, feel free to share your questions, and we'll try to get to what we can first. And Cathy, I'm going to give you the first shot at this one. How do you foresee AI evolving in the next 5 years, specifically for marketing agencies? And I know 5 years when it comes to AI is really almost too far to look out, but what areas do you believe will see the most transformation, and what should agencies do now to prepare for those changes?
5 years just seems so far away. I feel like in the past, how many months, AI has been transforming everything that we're doing. But I think from an agency standpoint, not only is it going to be impacting the work that we're doing for our clients, it's going to be impacting the agencies as a whole. So I think the best place for agencies to start is, yes, your clients are absolutely amazing, super critical, but start with your own systems, your own processes. How can you be more efficient? How can you streamline some things? How can your team use their superpowers to go even farther with using artificial intelligence? So start with yourself as your client, and then figure out ways you can, once that's working with you and you're like, okay, now we have this system down, then go out to your clients and show new capabilities, new things that you're doing. But really, I think it's going to start with you being your own customer.
Fantastic. Katie, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I think that's the basic start, which is, it sounds scary. It sounds intimidating. The back end of it, machine learning is, but we really separate out AI from machine learning, which is a lot of what NVIDIA does, and talk about how to use this as a creative. And I think that's pretty much everyone here, even on the business side, you wouldn't be a marketing if you didn't approach things creatively. So yeah, that's what I'm passionate about.
Jessica, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Cathy, with you. I really feel like sometimes if agencies are talking about AI or making recommendations online publicly and they haven't used it internally enough themselves, you can tell, right? So you guys as agencies have to do your own due diligence internally to get experience within the platforms, with piloting, with setting up AI councils, everything that goes along with that. And we'll talk about more today as well, but you've got to experience what it's like before you can talk about it with your clients too. And I do feel like you've got to understand that there is a big use case out there to reduce agency spend, right? So coming from the former brand side, transparently, like my main use case was to reduce agency spend by 50%, and we hit it, right? So like what else can we be doing to offer value to our clients? Anytime I hear third-party agency involved in a use case, it's going to be a slam dunk for Gen AI in terms of ROI. So what else can we be doing? I can tell you, I would pay for creative and messaging, an agency to push me on creative and messaging every day, right? So what added value are you than just the copy shop? Because that's one of the main use cases out there right now. I mean, a couple of pages cost $25,000 and takes 2 months to create, right? We can do that now internally. So I really think we've got to think about, and you guys will experience that as you do this internally yourselves, right? But we've got to think about what else we can offer clients.
Oh, and we're definitely coming back to that AI council point for sure. Chris, what would you like to add?
Well, I think that everyone here has done a fine job of sort of saying where it's at the macro level. But like, if I wanted to get very specific, I would say that there's about 4 major areas where I think there's going to have rapid change. I think the first area that businesses have to understand is that there's an AI tool called agents. And basically the way agents are going to work is it's not going to just be something that you type in a query and get a result for. Agents are literally going to be action bots that take over tasks. Mm-hmm. And if you've looked at anything from Google and you start to look at this stuff, you start to say to yourself, hey, you know what? A lot of these things that these agents are doing, that actually might be my job, the one I'm doing right now. And so one of the things that I think the first thing you have to do is you have to absolutely get some AI literacy to understand where the AI is at and where it's going, but then also to try to anticipate where do the robots end and where can I start? Because that handoff of understanding that inflection point couldn't be more important. And then I think the other things that you're going to see is something called what I call like invisible AI. When I say invisible AI, these are the things that are happening from software companies sort of under the surface. When you think about Google Maps, that's actually AI. And that is, we don't think about that as sort of just we turn left and basically the AI adjusts. Imagine that invisible AI that's not about a chatbot, but literally about AI that's learning and creating better and better results over time. Every piece of software that we're using right now, that's going to be table stakes within the next 3 to 5 years. And then finally, I think you have to kind of read the tea leaves about what Apple has just done. I think what Apple's done is it's going to make AI very ubiquitous. What I mean by that is that I believe that people have dabbled on ChatGPT or Gemini or things like that, but literally it's going to be in their hand. It's going to know them. It's going to be intuitive, and it's going to be able to react with precision. So now you're marrying AI with efficiency, and it's at the personal level and it's at the business level. So this whole like AI is like this mysterious thing. It's just going to be one of these things where the average person is going to look at a tool and just get it, that I can talk to it like it's a human being. And I think that's a lot of change in 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge evolution. Robin, would you like to add anything?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can. I feel like you were like so excited. Okay. So I don't want to say 5 years. And I think we need to look at 5 months, because this is rapidly growing and they're leveraging AI to each other. And what I think is going to happen is people, to Chris' point, people who are leveraging AI and incorporating it into their jobs are going to be the ones who edge out. The people who are scared and they're scared to adapt and they're scared to jump in are going to be the ones that are at a threat. And so you're going to start seeing it. But also, let's talk about it's going to start weeding out other AIs. So like we have to say it's going to be the battle, and we're going to see huge corporations, just like we have in social, start merging to each other, and they're going to start bringing their tech together, and they're going to start, like when she said about machine learning, we're going to start pulling out new resources, and it's going to advance very quickly.
Yeah. Katie, what was on your mind?
The past 20 years have flown by with the internet, but we don't even realize we've learned Boolean search, a certain way of talking to computers that I think the reason senior citizens are doing so well with AI right now is because maybe they didn't ever learn that Boolean search, talk to computers, and they're talking like a person. So you see really small children and you see people that do not have a large online presence. They're actually approaching this kind of in a better way. I think we have some things to dismantle there.
Yeah. Desiree says, I just need AIM to come back and I'll be happy. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's talk about that.
Never know.
Yeah, let's talk about that human element. I'll let you go first, Katie. What, with AI capable of automating and optimizing so many tasks, how can agencies ensure that they maintain that human touch in their marketing strategies? What aspects of creativity and strategy do you think might remain uniquely human? And how can agencies still leverage AI to enhance rather than replace those elements?
Okay, that's a big loaded question. I'm going to dismantle it a little bit and say,
Yeah.
I don't think it's an either or a replacement. Whomever said it's going to just be in the water across the board. And there are people that are experts at how that is going to affect the automation of tasks. What I'm passionate about is how we almost onboard a chat GPT entity onto your team in a way. You know, I wrote this in the chat, but I always say, think of it like the brightest intern. It's a genius intern. They are ready, willing, and able, and they know nothing. They know nothing yet. So you really have to train them. But there's an investment. Every time you go back to that chat, it doesn't forget now, at least on ChatGPT. It retains what you taught it yesterday. And so it's not time wasted. It's an investment.
Absolutely. Jessica, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think actually Paul Reitzer says this really well from the Marketing AI Institute too. It's like that thinking about what you're really good at and what you love to do. Like, creative is part of that. You're never going to lose that to AI. You're going to use AI for other parts of the business, right? And so I think it's just leaning into that as an organization. I think there's discussion to be had, sure, about like, okay, but what if my creative parts, AI still does it? There's still going to be the human element of it. And I think it's just a self-discovery piece right now too, to figure out what you like to do and then really leaning into that. Cathy, I'm sure you have some stuff to add there too.
Yeah, Cathy?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I feel like, a couple things. I have a lot to say on this topic.
So many things.
We just talked about this. We had an intro to AI class 2 hours ago. And one of the questions was, okay, you spend all this time with these AI tools. It's augmenting all this work you're doing. What's the human doing? What's left? What's the human doing? And we're like, oh my gosh, where do we even start? The human's doing most of it. It's just saving us a lot. It's like saving us time from things, but we are touching every single thing. We are not using it to write. We are using it to process some things, to find some data, to do all the stuff. And we are needed. And, so that's one thing. And then two, if you look at what the outputs are from some of these Gen AI tools, and some of them are really, really good. But if you look at it, you're like, okay, a human didn't write this. And you have to go back in. Like if we're all just using AI verbatim, content's going to be just junk. So it gives us the opportunity, now we're going to be able to be subject matter experts, add our tone, add our voice. And some of the tools can help us do that too. But, the people that are great writers that are using AI tools are going to be exceptional, are already exceptional. And it's just a matter of us figuring out what that balance is between what we love doing and what we're good at and where the AI tools fit in.
I couldn't agree more. Jen made a comment about how she uses AI to help her create solid podcast questions. I used AI to help me prepare for this panel. And there was a whole litany of technical issues that most of you weren't aware of that were happening during just the last session that I was handling that an AI could not have done. So this is me. I'm real. I'm here. Chris, how are you implementing or keeping that human touch in your agency?
Well, I think one of the things that just across the board, I think that human to human, I think we crave authenticity. And what I mean by that is that I think I can speak for everybody on this panel. We've probably got our hands so dirty into AI that we can see it out in the wild. And we're like, you don't say the word delve. You just don't.
Over and over again.
The tool tells you to do that. And
I say that all the time.
You know what I mean? But have you ever called a telephone service? Like I just called Synchrony Bank. And you knew you're speaking with an AI that could read your voice. But when it messes up, your level of patience is like zero. So if your marketing does not have human in the loop, like that authenticity level is going to be very apparent. And I think what's going to happen is I think that people are going to say, you know what, you made a brand choice to be all robotic. And I just can't embrace a brand that's completely all robotic unless they pitch a perfect game every time. And where I'm at right now, and I'm in AI every day, every minute, it's just not pitching a perfect game. And so it's an incredible tool, but it's a horrible master. So I think you have to understand it, embrace that.
Robin, I saw you shaking your head emphatically a number of times here.
Well, first of all, between Chris and Cathy, dropping truth bombs right there. We should probably talk about it. But what I want to say is, because this is where the fear is. And so I want to eliminate some fear. When computers came in, we were all, I'm not going to say my age, we were all using typewriters, okay? Work accelerated when we used computers. And then it was you bringing Google, and all of a sudden we were using the internet instead of going to the library and researching. All AI is doing is helping us do our jobs faster, but what it's also doing is making our jobs a lot harder. Because like Cathy said, now it's all the things behind the scenes. It's all the things that you have to layer in. And as Chris is bringing that personal element, is now watching multiple things at multiple times. You became a project manager of your AI. So it just increased your workload in a way. It took some simple task off, just like a car gets me to work a lot faster, but now my workday is longer because of it. And I think we've seen these disruptors throughout life, and everyone's so scared of AI, but like, it's happened with a printing press. It happened with cars. It happened with Google. Like, we're not on something totally different. We're just experiencing it in a different way. And we're talking about it this time. So it's helping us get the job faster, but it's also elongating a lot. And we're doing a lot more now.
I've said many times, we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, and our society has gone through all these previous industrial revolutions, and we've survived. We've figured out what to do with ourselves. But to your point, Olivia has a great question, and I'm just going to throw this out to anyone who'd like to field it. She says, how do you get creative teams excited about AI when they're worried about it replacing them? Anyone have any thoughts on that?
I think AI has given us the opportunity to critically think more than we were. We were doing a lot of things. We had a lot of tasks on our plate. And if AI is able to take some of those things off of our plate, we can be strategic. We can creatively think. You have to be able to really think critically when you're writing prompts, when you're working with these technologies. I feel like it's gotten me smarter in quite a few places just because I am able to, like, oh my gosh, I'm using my brain today. I'm not doing all these things. And so I think, from a creative standpoint, that's what creatives are. They have got these beautiful minds, and how can AI help them? The best creative mind is still creating 27 versions of ads. Like, can AI take that off their plate so they can spend that time doing something they absolutely love doing? So it's just kind of redistributing that time in people's lives.
Terrific perspective. Jessica, I'm wondering, while AI obviously does provide a lot of benefits, it can also introduce challenges, potential issues such as ethical concerns and biases in decision making. How do you think agencies potentially address these potential pitfalls? And could you delve into those risks in AI marketing?
Oh, no.
That humans use the word sometimes. Yeah. I really think the answer here is the same for agencies and for brands. And I think the number one place to start is having AI ethics and usage policies or guidelines, right? And this isn't promotional because I've been using Jasper's template and promoting it longer than I've worked here because it's been around for a year, but there's a great, really comprehensive template on jasper.ai/ethics that really goes into all the different pieces that you can put into an AI policy. And our partners, for example, are required to have them published on their website. So we have a lot of great examples of what that looks like and adding your customizations in there. But having guidelines and guardrails and understanding, educating your team, right? Which really is number two. And they overlap a little bit because you can have some of that education in your policy as well, but it's focusing on AI literacy, which we've already talked about a little bit here, right? But in order to understand what it is, how it can have these pitfalls, how we need to look out for them, people need to understand what it looks like, what generative AI is. So creating your own education focuses and literacy programs, enablement series is really, really, really important so that they know what to look for. For example, if you're creating a persona document and the AI outputs that the CEO is male, it's a slippery slope, right? So you want to ensure that humans are reviewing it and that they're not then going out and publishing those. If you're training your own model, of course, it's a huge consideration. But the most important piece of all of this, and we've already alluded to this as well, is human oversight, right? So again, comes back to your usage guidelines as well, right? That nothing gets published without human review. And humans are flawed as well, right? We've all gone to print with typos before, right? At least once in our career, but the more training and enablement and the more practice we can get, the more we can ensure we're all doing the best that we can to educate our team members to be able to spot those issues, I think, as well.
Cathy, I have the sense you have a lot more to say on this topic.
Oh, I feel like someone else can talk about something else.
Okay.
I'm just nodding in agreement.
Chris, you have some ideas?
Yeah, obviously the table stakes that I believe that are preached very well through Marketing AI Institute and other companies is getting a strong policies and procedures. But what I think that I really try to push my clients to do in training is the more you put into the AI before you start working, the better result you get from the AI. And so if you spend 10 times the amount of time priming the AI with who you are, what you're about, what you can say, what you can't say, dialing in on custom instructions and doing all of the things that really help you, that makes the AI sound like you and your brand and know your customers inside and out. And then literally talk to the AI and say, I would rather you lean on the pre-approved materials that I've written rather than you think off the spot. Because when you loosen up the reins and you let the robot do what it does, it's a slot machine. You have no idea what you're going to get on the other side. But if you're leaning on the pre-approved materials you already have, at least you're hedging your bets.
Couldn't agree more. Robin, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think it's about rules and ethics in everything we do, from medical to social to, we've had to put in placements all over. And as technology, we're talking about AI right now, and we'll all be laughing looking at this 3 years from now with a whole new terminology and saying, hey, no, look, there's new rules and regulations for something else. And so it's going to be progressive. It's going to change. A lot of businesses back in the day when social media when it was just out there and it was just Facebook, and then all of a sudden it accelerated. There had to be guidelines of what you were allowed to say for a company, what you're allowed to say for a corporation, what messaging. You now became a PR team with social. And so these rules and regulations are going to be set up the same as your materials, your training materials. We don't do training materials like we used to on old school VHS. Again, I keep dating myself. VHS tapes.
I'm with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Someone else. Okay. You're not old. But it's also how long it's progressed, and how fast it's progressed. We're going to have to keep adjusting. We're going to have to. And, when we went all online during COVID, teachers had to adjust. How could kids cheat? They've always been cheating. They're just changing into how they are doing it. And that's all we're doing with AI is we're not cheating. Kind of, we are. We're just taking it to another level.
Awesome. Any final thoughts on that topic, Katie?
Yeah, just that it's a really new approach. Exactly what you said about rethinking the way humans learn is the way AI learns, which is we learn everything since we were born. It's contextual, relevant. It's things we grew up with. We retain it and we mash it together to create completely new. See, I argue that is creativity and that AI is doing that. But I would also argue that it can be our right hand to boost our careers and businesses up and take care of a lot of just like an intern, a lot of the details while we teach it to help us to get to the next level.
Fantastic. There was a question about whether or not Agorapulse is implementing more AI into their features, and absolutely. And I think the way that we're leaning into AI is to help us do the things that we've been talking about here that either we don't have time to do or we don't have the capability to do. So that's largely to do with insights and reporting using AI. And you can already do this with your mobile app version of Agorapulse. Get AI generated summaries of reports, and soon you'll be able to talk to those reports and ask it questions and get really insightful answers. So speaking of tools, Chris, I'm going to tee this question up to you. Many agencies are feeling overwhelmed when it comes to tools because there's just so many of them. We had the MarTech report for 2024 come out from Scott Brinker recently, and just an explosion of AI tools, not even counting all the custom GPTs that are out there. What should be their first steps as an agency owner when it comes to integrating AI into their workflows? Are there specific tools or strategies that you all might recommend? How would you proceed? Sure.
Well, this is going to be a little more aggressive than I think that I'm comfortable with, but
bring it.
If you are just piloting this now, you're about 20 months too late. And I don't mean that to be difficult. I'm literally saying that ChatGPT is 19 to 20 months old, and you've seen other products very similar come out, everything from Anthropic to Gemini to all of these tools. And so if I was you, my first advice is you got to catch up. When I think about AI, I think about the chess and checkers of AI. The chess basically means, what does my long-term strategy look like as an agency? And the big thing I really try to say is you should have an act 2, because I believe that a lot of the AI is going to do the things that you're doing already. And so you do have to understand where is your strategic value above and beyond these tools. But now that I've sort of gotten off my soapbox here, let me kind of break it down. The first thing I would do is I would find a foundational tool that is probably going to be a good fit. In my opinion, I believe it's ChatGPT. But the things that you're going to learn from an AI literacy standpoint from ChatGPT, if you go to Gemini, it's not going to be like, oh, I got to learn a whole different language. Or I go to most of these tools, it's not brand new. I think you cut your teeth on one tool, get really, really confident in that, and just know that other tools have different nuances and value. The other things that I would do is in that experience of using ChatGPT, I want to make sure that you know that it's not just a chatbot. It has advanced data analysis, which basically means that you can upload data and talk to it in natural language. You got to own that and know that. If you've made Google Docs in the past, imagine the AI version of that is what's called custom GPTs. For Google, they'll be called gems. In Anthropic, they're called projects. You got to know that too. And then finally, I would probably try to get an understanding of where image prompting is going, because I think generative art is going to be a very, very important tool to know both in video and in imagery. And so I would learn one foundational tool, learn prompt engineering in those tools, and then understand the critical parts of those tools. Get that as your foundation, and then you can scale. I think if you cut your teeth in those places, you're not going to be asking the same questions that you were asking at the beginning of your journey.
Terrific points. Cathy, what would you add to that?
Well, I took a few notes in preparation of this. I just want to read 4 stats for you. These first 2 are from the Work Trend Index report. 75% of us are using AI at work. 46% of us started in the last 6 months. So people are, I'm surprised by that stat a little bit. Like, really, it's taken you that long, but it has. And then Salesforce, 2 stats from them. 55% have used unapproved Gen AI tools at work. So people that you're working with are using tools that you don't know about, including 40% have used banned tools at work. So to Jessica's point, get your policies, get your guidelines, get your councils, get everything in place, because people are going rogue and we need to really make sure we're all doing the right things. So I just want to talk real quickly, which I didn't intro the Institute at the beginning, so I'm just going to spend 30 seconds on it. Please. Marketing AI Institute, Jessica referenced Paul, our CEO. We have intro to AI class. We have gotten blueprints, webinars, the podcast I listen to every single week. There's just so much stuff that we have that's free. We've got lots of paid stuff. If you want to hear more about the paid stuff, give me a call. But go dive into the free things and just find us. Go to Mike's podcast, go to Chris's company, Jasper. Everyone has these. Find your people. Find the people that you can communicate with, ask questions, learn from. And then the tool stuff that Chris was talking about, that's those 2 things hand in hand. Educate yourself, practice. Then you're going to be in a good spot.
Could not agree more. And definitely I'll add my, vote of confidence, for the podcast, Paul and Mike's weekly podcast. It's fantastic. The Artificial Intelligence Show. It's must listening. It's long. They cover a lot. You might need to break it up over a couple of days, and that's fine, because you'll have a whole week till the next one comes out. Jessica, what would you add?
Yeah, I think I was just kind of going back with what I was saying before too, since we mentioned AI councils and I didn't dive deep a little bit into that. But the idea of creating guidelines and creating AI literacy programming for your organization can all come together within an AI council, whether it's a CTO, CIO level AI council, probably for agencies or for your brands, right? It's a marketing cross-functional AI council that's separate, but this is the group that can help you. So it's not just on one person, create those policies, right? Have those ethics guidelines in place and put together the educational resources for your team as well, because it can be overwhelming, all the things that are out there, but you can rely on this group to set up those global enablement sessions, to bring in external speakers, to have fireside chats with your leadership team, to show that this is your AI enthusiasts, right? So they can be the ones to help showcase what they're doing in different tools, for example. And then a lot of the work that's driven, piloting, things like that, can come through this cross-functional team of AI enthusiasts that can then prove it out and then scale to the rest of your organization from there.
Terrific. Katie, what would you add?
Sorry, I was chatting at the same time. We're talking about prompting and getting started with prompts. And I think it's my opinion that it's really a lot like people. There's not one way to approach. We might all start at the same baseline, but if you keep a thread open now and you come back to it tomorrow, the question you had, today there's a frame of reference for that. So I was just saying, don't quit and start new. Always teach it and iterate, because it's an investment in what it will know tomorrow. And then, I mean, I don't know, this is all a grand experiment we're all in together. So I think my gut says treat it like you would someone really coming onto your team. I don't think you necessarily need, to hire a big group to do that. I think if I were a leader, a CMO, I would be every weekend jumping on it and just getting hands-on with text, with ChatGPT, and then maybe the photo tools. Video is going to remain, just like today, we don't all make video. People that make video should learn that, but I don't think everyone in the world needs to learn that. So we tend to chat a lot online. If you chat with friends and family, just try it out. Try out that exact approach. Don't even overthink it.
I've started putting in my final result after I get something and saying, thanks, here's what I ended up with. Just to see if it learns.
Jump off from. What do you use though?
Tip.
What platform?
Oh, I have 4 open most of the time.
Oh, okay. They're all little different too.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't take our advice, folks. Start with one.
Right. Start with one.
Don't have them all open so that you can cross-reference them. You don't need to do that. That's what enthusiasts like us are for. Robin, any final thoughts on that particular topic?
I think it's embedding it in your culture of your team. So what we do, and I'll just share this as an owner, what we do is we start a Slack channel. You see something, you say something, drop it in the Slack channel, let us all discover it. The person who does it, they do the research on it. So they teach on the team morning. So it doesn't come from me, it's coming from them. And then we do rewards. So you find something, you discover something that makes your team more efficient, you get a reward, you get more PTO, you get a bonus, you get something that brings it. And it's not being led by me. And sometimes it's the interns that come in that they're like, this is how I cheat. And I try and I'm like, damn it, why didn't I do that before? So we try to do a Slack channel that does it. Then we have them teach each other, and trust me, they're teaching me every day. And then rewarding it, because if they're doing that and you want more PTO, you just earned yourself some, because you just created a system that we can use forever.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Folks, in the 2 minutes that we have left, take just 30 seconds to share where folks can find and connect with you, starting with Chris.
Sure. My company is called Farotech, Farotech. You can hit us at info@farotech.com. And I have a podcast with Andy Crestadina called Digital Marketing Masterclass. You can check that out as well.
Terrific. Thank you. Kathy?
marketingaiinstitute.com. I would check out the Artificial Intelligence show. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on there way too much. So if you, with lots of good information. So I would love to talk to all of you.
Awesome. Awesome. Katie?
I just put it in the thread, but I'm on LinkedIn all the time. Search Katie Richmond, you'll find me. And then I have a blog on Medium called Tech Normal. You can find all that through my LinkedIn.
Love it. And Jessica?
Thanks. I just put my LinkedIn in the chat as well. I'm also on a podcast called AI Edge for Enterprise Marketers. So it's a lot of the former AI Council members from VMware coming together to talk about our experience setting up the AI Council, what we did, and then bringing on other guests to talk specifically enterprise marketing.
Yeah, in fact, everyone, go listen to the AI Edge and go all the way to the very first episode so that you can learn about what Jessica's talking about with that AI Council and learn how to apply it to your own business. That was fantastic. And Robin, what about you?
So I dropped my LinkedIn in the channel. Please go on LinkedIn. I'm just like Kathy, way too active on it. So every day do that. And I'm going to put a tiny plug in for the MarTech show that I get to lead with my partner in crime, Mike Outen. So you can check us out there, where we do a lot of different marketing and technologies combined.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. That is incredibly all the time we've got for today. Make sure that you follow and connect with them.